Hello and welcome back to Injury Recovery Mindset. I'm Dr. Craig Seifer, sports psychologist and certified mental performance consultant with the UR Medicine Fitness Science program. So to recap, this is our third session. So I want to recap where we've been. So far, we've learned about anxiety, tension, and doubt, that they're all a normal part of our return to performance. We talked about the alarm bell and our amygdala response that happens as we're kind of getting back to injury. Talked about the green and red zones in terms of energy management. Green, optimal, right where we need to be. Red, where we start to get revved up too high. And we've talked about mindset skills to be able to manage that energy in a positive way. Performance breathing, square breathing, and progressive muscle relaxation. So today we're going to shift our focus a little bit. And we're going to talk about self-talk and the process, right? The importance of managing our internal thoughts regarding performance in a way that's going to be helpful and productive for us going forward. So one question I like to talk with, especially when I meet with groups, is who is the most important person you talk to each day? And so when I meet with groups, they might say a couple of different things. They might say a coach. They might say a parent. They might say a friend. They might say a teammate. And those are all excellent answers. But unfortunately, they're the wrong answers. The most important person that you talk to each day is yourself. We are in a constant state of dialogue with ourselves all through the day. So there's some research that states that we have as many as 40,000 thoughts in a day. So there's a lot of times where we're deeply kind of sitting in moments where we're thinking and talking to ourselves. And that becomes the most important thing in terms of what's going on. So in terms of our self-talk, we know that negative self-talk is, incredibly harmful, right? So saying things to ourselves like, how can you make such a stupid mistake? Or I always mess up at big moments. I can't just get this right. Or I'm not ready, or what if I get hurt? Those kind of negative or doubtful thoughts, those are unhelpful. And we know we want to get to a more positive focus, being able to kind of say to ourselves, everyone makes mistakes. So just stay focused. Trust your preparation, trust your training, keep grinding. But if we notice that, those aren't necessarily positive thoughts. They're more accurately neutral thoughts. They're not excessively positive in terms of what we need to do, but more about just like, where do we need to be? Present focused, in the moment, neutral. So how do we get to this neutral self-talk? One way to think about it, it has to do with goal setting. Now, when you normally think about goal setting, you think about things like, that we call outcome goals in sports psychology, things that we want to accomplish. It might be, a certain position or that you want to be on your team. It might be a certain amount of team success or individual success that you want to see. It might be things academically, like your GPA or your class rank, what you want for the future. So those outcome goals are things that we want to accomplish. But there's another form of goal setting that can be particularly helpful in terms of our self-talk. And that is process goals. So we hear this phrase all the time of trust the process, right? Social media is filled with the hashtags trust the process all the time. And so what does it mean to be focused on the process? What does it mean to trust the process? Process goals can be a way to kind of help us to get there. And process goals are all about small steps, things that are in our control, things that are positively focused or maybe neutrally focused. And if we take care of them, they lead to good outcomes. Process goals are focused on the present. Process goals are focused on right now, what we need to do. Process goals can be instructional. What action do I need to take? What do I need to focus on? Keep my feet moving. Stay low. Be aggressive, right? Or it could be motivational based on the energy level that I need to have, right? So if I want to be in that green zone, if I need to get settled down and get out of that red zone, it could be just breathe, right? Or you've got this, or lock in, dial in. One picture that I love to show that really emphasizes this focus on process is this picture of Michael Phelps. Now we can tell by looking at this what's going on with focus. Now this is the last 25 meters of a race. And The competitor who is staring Michael Phelps down is less than a head length behind him. But we can tell just from this picture who won this race. Because Michael Phelps, his focus is just on his lane, his goal, his process, just where he needs to be. And if we want to be successful, we can't be 40% into other lanes and 60% on ours. We need to be 100% focused on our lane, our process, what works for us. So having some of these process goal examples can be helpful. And I want to kind of talk through a couple of these right away. So I had a hockey goalie, not a hockey goalie, a hockey defenseman who was coming back from an injury that concussion-wise, that would kind of affected her. And so she had these 3 ABCs that she would focus on to keep herself focused on the process and where she needed to be. So her A of her process was keep my feet moving. If she stayed on her toes, stayed active as a player, good things were going to happen. Her B was aggressive into corners. If she was athletic, she was ready to play. So if she was aggressive into corners, good things were happening. She would knock that other player off the puck, gain possession, have good things happen. And her C was always breakout. So once she had possession, looking to transition, looking to go defense to offense. And this became her mantra, her focus all the way through that game, before a shift, in between shifts, even while she was on the ice. Keep my feet moving, aggressive into corners, breakout. I had another example that I had was a soccer player coming back from a hip injury. He had a tendency to kind of get focused on his injury itself and what would happen. What if I got injured? What if I wasn't ready to get back? And so he just kind of focused on 3 key parts of his game that were part of his process. The first one was his first touch. When he received that ball, having a good first touch was the key to kind of starting things off well. B was vision, right? He needed to kind of have head down for that first touch and then head up to see the field. So if he set himself vision, that kept his focus on seeing the field, being active in that moment. And his C was always commit. If he committed to each decision, committed to giving 100%, committing to his aggressiveness, good things are going to happen. First touch, vision, commit, kept him focused on his process and not any kind of negativity that would come his way. So you have, as part of our program, process goal sheets that we gave you. I want you to think about kind of game situations that come up, current goals that you have as you're kind of returning to performance and getting going, and thinking about what that needs to look like. What would your ABC be? What are the small steps, things that are in your control, positively focused on the present? And if you take care of those good things will happen in terms of the outcomes. So that sheet's going to look a little bit like this. You're focusing on moving from negative to positive or neutral self-talk and focusing on your small steps, positively focused, in your control. So now that you've taken some time to go over that, focus on your process, think about how we're going to apply then as you continue your process of getting back to performance, back to competition. So your golden repair goals, your kintsugi goals that we have for this week. 1, we want you to continue to stay aware of your thoughts and your emotional states. If we're staying aware, staying vigilant about how we're thinking and how we're feeling, then we're going to be able to manage each challenge that comes up. 2, we need to continue to practice and utilizing our breathing and PMR mindset skills. The more you can regulate your energy in positive ways, the better off you're going to be as you continue to get back to play. And the third part, this new task that we have for you, continuing to utilize these process goals to manage your self-talk, keeping yourself focused and neutral in terms of your best ability to move forward. So once again, I'm Dr. Craig Seifer, sports psychologist for the UR Medicine Fitness Science program. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to me. You can find me on social media, find me by email, and let me know if any kind of questions come up and ways that I can help going forward. I'll see you next time.